The alarm never sounded. That was the first mistake. When the cargo hauler from Varix Prime docked at Station Kepler 9, nobody checked the secondary holds. The manifest said grain shipments and mining equipment. It did not mention the two small bodies huddled between the crates, their fur matted with frost and their breathing shallow. Maintenance Chief Sarah Chen was finishing her third shift in a row when she heard the sound. It was faint, like metal scraping against metal, coming from Corridor 7B. She paused, her magnetic boots clicking against the deck plating. The sound came again, followed by something else, a whimper. Sarah had worked on stations for 12 years. She knew every sound the metal made when it expanded in the heat cycle, every groan of the environmental processors, every hiss of the air recyclers. This was different. This was alive. She found the first cub near the water reclamation unit. It was small, maybe the size of a house cat, with silver-blue fur that rippled like liquid in the dim corridor lights. Its eyes were too large for its face, golden and filled with fear. When it saw Sarah, it tried to run, but its legs buckled. It had been a long time since it had eaten. Sarah knew the species. Velarin. A protected race from the outer systems, known for their pack bonds and their six-limbed grace. This one was young, barely past infancy, and it was alone. "Hey there, little one," Sarah whispered, crouching down slowly. She kept her hands visible, her body language soft. The cub watched her, trembling. Its small chest heaved with rapid breaths. The cub made a sound, something between a chirp and a cry. Then it answered itself. No, not itself. Sarah's heart sank as she heard the second call, somewhere deeper in the station. There were two of them. She tapped her communicator. "Chen to station control. We have a situation in the lower decks. Possible stowaways, juveniles, Velarin species. I need a xenobiology team and someone from customs." The response crackled back. "Negative, Chen. All specialist teams are off duty for the cycle. It's skeleton crew until 0600 hours. Can it wait?" Sarah looked at the cub. Its eyes were starting to glaze. Dehydration, maybe hypothermia. The lower decks ran cold to preserve the cargo. "No," she said firmly. "It can't wait." She slowly removed her jacket, a thick thermal weave that she wore against the station's chill. Moving inch by inch, she laid it on the deck between herself and the cub. The little creature watched, its nose twitching. After a long moment, it crept forward and pressed its face against the warm fabric. "That's it," Sarah murmured. "You're okay. I've got you." But when she tried to pick up the cub, it panicked, scrambling away with surprising speed despite its weakness. It disappeared into a ventilation duct, too small for Sarah to follow. Before it vanished completely, it made that sound again, the call. And somewhere in the darkness, its sibling answered. Sarah spent the next 4 hours crawling through the maintenance tunnels and storage bays of the lower decks. The station was massive, a waypoint for traders and travelers from a dozen systems, with thousands of corridors and compartments. Two small cubs could hide anywhere. She found signs of them everywhere. Tiny paw prints in the dust, scratches on the wall panels, a torn food wrapper from a cargo container. They were searching for something. For each other? For their parents? For a way home? At hour 5, Sarah found the second cub trapped in a maintenance closet. It had squeezed through a gap in the door, but couldn't figure out how to get back out. When Sarah opened the door, the cub pressed itself into the corner, its fur standing on end, making itself look bigger than it was. A defense posture. This one was smaller than the first, with darker fur and a white patch on its chest. Its left front paw was injured, a cut that had scabbed over but looked infected. It hissed at Sarah, a sound that would have been threatening from an adult Valoran, but from this tiny creature was heartbreaking. "I know," Sarah said softly. "You're scared. You don't know where you are. You don't know where your family is, but I'm going to help you, okay? Both of you." She sat down, making herself smaller, less threatening. She pulled out her water bottle and poured a small amount into her cupped hand. The cub's eyes fixed on the water. Its tongue darted out, touching its dry nose. "Come on," Sarah encouraged. "You need this." Minutes passed. Then the cub moved, slowly, painfully, dragging its injured paw. It stopped just out of reach and stretched its neck as far as it could. Its tongue barely touched the water in Sarah's palm. It took another 10 minutes before the cub was drinking properly, its small body shaking with each desperate swallow. When the water was gone, it looked up at Sarah with those enormous golden eyes and made a sound. Not a hiss this time, a trill, a question. "Your sibling?" Sarah asked. "Yeah, I saw them. They're here. We just have to find them again." As if in answer, the call came echoing through the ducts. The cub in front of Sarah answered immediately, its whole body vibrating with the sound. Then it tried to stand, to go to its sibling, but its injured paw wouldn't hold its weight. Without thinking, Sarah scooped the cub into her arms. It was lighter than she expected, all fur and bones. It tensed for a moment, then seemed to understand. This human was helping. This human was safe. The search continued. Sarah carried the injured cub, following the sounds through the station. The cubs called to each other, their voices growing stronger, more urgent. They were close. She found the first cub in the cargo bay where this had all started, pressed against the door of the hauler that had brought them here. It was scratching at the metal, trying to get back in, looking for its parents. Sarah's heart broke. She knew what had happened. The hauler had already departed, heading back to Varick's Prime with a load of manufactured goods. She had watched it leave 3 hours ago. The cub's parents had probably searched frantically. But the hauler had a schedule to keep. The station had protocols. Nobody checked the secondary holds. The first cub turned when it heard its sibling's call. Its eyes widened. Then it saw Sarah, holding its injured sibling, and something in its posture changed. The fear was still there, but something else too. Calculation, decision. The cub moved toward them, slowly at first, then faster. It circled Sarah once, twice, studying her. Then it pressed its body against her leg and looked up. Trust. Sarah carefully set down the injured cub. Immediately, the two siblings pressed together, grooming each other, making soft sounds that were definitely not in any language Sarah knew, but were completely universal. Relief, joy, love. "Okay," Sarah said, her voice thick. "Okay. Let's get you both somewhere safe." She tried to pick them up, but the first cub wouldn't let her touch it. Every time she reached for it, it skittered away, but it wouldn't leave its injured sibling. The injured one couldn't walk. They had a problem. Sarah solved it the way humans had solved problems for thousands of years. She improvised. Her coat was still draped over her arm, the same coat the first cub had pressed against earlier. She spread it on the deck, then gently placed the injured cub on it. Its sibling watched, alert. Then Sarah picked up the corners of the coat, making a sling, and lifted them both. The healthy cub tensed, ready to bolt, but it looked at its sibling, safe in the fabric, and made a choice. It climbed into the coat too, pressing against its injured brother or sister, and let Sarah carry them both. The medical bay was closed, but Sarah had override codes. She set up the exam room herself, adjusting the temperature, finding the emergency rations that would work for Valoran physiology, setting out water and blankets. The station's xenobiology database helped her treat the injured paw, cleaning and bandaging it while the healthy cub watched her every move. By the time she finished, the station's chronometer read 05:47. Dawn cycle would begin in 13 minutes. Sarah had been awake for nearly 20 hours. She sat down on the floor, exhausted. The cubs had eaten and drunk. The injury was treated. They were safe. Now she just had to figure out how to get them home. The healthy cub moved first. It crept toward Sarah, sniffed her hand, then her leg. After a long moment, it pressed its small body against her side. Its sibling followed, limping on 3 legs, dragging the bandaged paw. Sarah stayed very still as they arranged themselves against her. Then, with careful movements, she pulled her coat over them, creating a warm nest. The cubs burrowed into it, finally allowing themselves to feel safe. "I'll find them," Sarah promised, her hand resting gently on the coat, feeling the small bodies beneath. "I'll find your parents. We'll bring them back." The healthy cub made a soft sound, something between a purr and a sigh. Its sibling was already asleep, exhausted from the pain and fear and long night of searching. As the station lights shifted to dawn cycle, flooding the medical bay with artificial sunlight, Sarah leaned her head back against the wall. She should call station control, file a report, start making inquiries, but not yet. For now, she closed her eyes and let herself rest. 2 small aliens sleeping beneath her coat, trusting a human they had just met with their lives. That was what made humanity special, Sarah thought as sleep finally claimed her. Not their weapons or their ships or their technology. Any species could build those things. What made humans different was simpler and infinitely more important. They stopped. They listened. They cared. Even for 2 terrified cubs searching through the darkness, humans would always stop and care. That was the story the galaxy needed to hear.